Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.
Hello, welcome inside another edition. It is the Bmore Baseball Podcast. He's Mike Bordick, the former MLB 14-year veteran. I'm Jerry Coleman. We're up with brand new content each and every week, folks. You can find us on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere at the Bmore Ball Pod, the Bmore Ball Pod on social media and on YouTube. This is big because we're giving away Lido Pizza $50 gift cards to random subscribers, all right? We gave away 10 in a row. Now we're giving them away randomly. All you have to do is show evidence that you subscribe to the Bmore Ball Pod. And again, you can find us at Bmore Ball Pod on YouTube, also known as YouTube, Bmore Ball Pod. So a chance for that $50 Lido gift card. Today, we've reached episode number 8, Bordie. We'll be joined by one of your great teammates, former Oriole and Oriole favorite, of course, Jeff Reboulet. In addition, we're going to talk about the Orioles' diversity in terms of age. It's quite a group. Mike and I will also catch up with a local businessman who's got a Major League Baseball pass named Brian Kowitz. Can't wait to speak with him. And Dr. Michael Jacobs is along to talk about some of the nutritional changes inside the locker room. But as always, we bring in our featured guest. He's sponsored by Pappas Seafood. From crab cakes to seafood classics, they will deliver straight to your door. 4 locations in the Baltimore area, plus nationwide shipping wherever you are, including Jeff Reboulet. Order today at pappascrabcakes.com, and Jeff Reboulet is our guest. Jeff, appreciate you taking the time. So, a dozen years in the major leagues? I was going to first start off and ask you which club you identify with the most throughout your career, and you're sitting in front of a Twins jersey. So I think I know the answer to that question, even though Orioles fans would like to hear the Birds.
It is the Orioles. Twins were my first team, but, I never played on a super winning team with the Twins after that first year. And just 97, what Bordie and I as teammates went through, and that was just a great time for me. And the park is unbelievable. It still is today. What a great playing surface. And the fans, whenever I go somewhere, the Orioles fans, the Twins are very good to me, honestly. But the Orioles fans seem to know who I am, which is pretty amazing since been a long time.
Oh, some of the greatest fans of baseball right here at Baltimore, that's for sure. But I do know this, Reb, you and I came up on the West Coast, and that Twins team with TK at the helm, Kirby Puckett there, you came up with some incredible players. That had to be a pretty good learning experience in and of itself.
It really was. When I got called up in 92, I was actually an older guy. I didn't get called up till I was 27 years old. But I was, I think, maybe one of the few rookies that year at all, because they had won the World Series the year before. So, you got Chili Davis, you got Kirby, and what else can you say about those guys, right? So just some unbelievable players, got a great mentorship. Randy Bush, who's still in the Chicago Cubs organization, was kind of a mentor to me. And just a great group of guys. Mike Pagliarulo was playing. We had a lot of good players. Chuck Knobloch was his second year. But again, you got that. I know you're going to talk about that somewhat, is young guys, old guys, and just what that takes to win and bringing that all together like we did in 97.
Well, what a great way to learn. But you did a little bit of learning before that. I want to go back in time because, you and I have known each other for a long time. And I met you, I guess in the wrong way, back in the College World Series in Omaha. And I was trying to leg out a triple, and you gunned me down, man. You were playing for LSU at the time back in 1986. You remember that play at all?
Oklahoma State and Indiana State coming up tonight. John Sanders, Joe Morgan, and Irv Brown will bring you the action in that second elimination game. The winners of this game will go on and play Wednesday night, so they'll get a 2 days off to regroup, and that'll help their pitching staffs. For the losers today, it's the end of the season, and fine seasons for all of the teams that have made it to Omaha for this NCAA College World Series. Breaking ball hit hard to right center. It's in there for a base hit. Around second, on his way to third goes LaPierre. They're waving him in. LaPierre will score, and Bordick is going for 3. And the throw is in time. He's out. Beautiful relay.
Gosh, that was great, man. Do not run on that arm, man. That's a cannon right there.
What was that, 1986?
It was. It was
Yeah,
Maine Black
Graduated from high
Bears.
school.
Maine Black
man.
Bears. Bordie looked like he was 10. I probably looked like I was 10.
I know,
And,
right?
I think
wanna know.
hey, Bordie, though, I will
Yeah.
say, you guys just, I don't know which guy you were, but I think we threw out 3 or 4 guys trying to go to third. So you weren't the only guy. You might have been, if you were the last one, then shame on you.
Yeah, we were pushing it, man. We were over our skis out there taking on LSU. How the heck, I got to know this. How did you get to LSU from up there in Ohio?
I was just an average high school player. I could catch it and throw it to first. I guess I like to consider it Reboulet's disease. Couldn't really hit in high school. Hit 1 home run my entire life, I think, in high school. My brother went to a junior college in Chicago called Triton, and a lot of really good players there. And so I was 4 years behind him. So that coach saw me, and it's just a place where they were really good players, and I ended up going there. And actually, Puck split us. My brother was there, and then Puck played. I played with Lance Johnson. Like, there was just a number of guys that got drafted out of there. And then I became an All-American and pretty much could have gone anywhere I wanted to at that time. And LSU was just an up-and-coming spot. And, with Skip Bertman and everything going on there, it was just a great time for it. And I knew it was the right spot.
Well, you talked about the fact that you weren't a big home run hitter, yet Oriole fans, of course, remember you for the home run you hit in the playoffs against the big unit, Randy Johnson. Is that your all-time biggest Oriole memory for you? I know it is for a lot of fans. Back in October of 1997, you shocked the baseball world. You actually did well against the big unit. I think you hit 280 in your career off of him.
The outside corner. Fastball hit high and deep into left field. This one is way back there. This one is gone. A home run for Reboulet. Randy Johnson, meanwhile, had a few words for umpire Dale Scott afterwards.
We got the whole extended version there.
You guys got all the clips. What's going on,
baby? You talking about bad head to baseball? Oh my God, that was
that's kind of a lost art these days. We got to get the barrel to the ball. That's
man.
How we get it there is a little different, but you got to get the barrel to the baseball. But that was a big moment. Obviously, that's probably the biggest moment I've ever had, and timing wise. But that's it's like anything else. You just go out and you kind of put yourself in a position, you prepare yourself, and the chips fall where they may. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty good moment. And the Orioles fans are pretty amazing that they remember that. So that's my biggest moment probably in baseball.
Oh my God, Reb. That was such an amazing time right there. Now, you didn't disappoint. Now, you were one of my favorites of all time, one of my favorite teammates. You're a great friend as well. And I'll tell you why. And I think you know this just because of how you prepared. You prepared every day like you were going to be the best guy out there, like literally diving for balls, game ready. So those situations that you came up in, that's why you were so valuable and why you played so long. There just aren't players that you can plug in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning and say, go make a play for me. And I don't want to say your name or anything. Just make the plays and come up with big hits when we need it. And you didn't only swing the bat, but you might have had to bunt or hit and run in late games too. So probably one of the more valuable players. And just because of how you prepared yourself is what stuck out with me.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. My respect for you is unbelievable because, you had to do it every day. I just did it sporadically. And they both have their challenges. But at the end of the day, we both put the work in that we needed to do to make sure we were ready for any moment. And you took a lot of ground balls too, but you had to pace yourself because you were going to play. So, but the energy level that you played with I guess we were perfectionists at what we did. And I feel like I took more ground balls than anybody in the history of the game.
All right.
And that's just the way you put the work in back then. It started way back. I learned it a long time ago, and it kept me playing for a long time. My offense was what my offense was. I was a pretty good hitter. I was a nice player, but that wasn't my job. My job was to catch the ball late in the game and throw you out at first base pretty much every time. And that's what we prepared for. You and I you're on the Orioles. You came over to play shortstop to do that. And that's exactly what you did. And that's why we won in 97. We had so many good players on that team, and they all were really good players, but they worked at it really hard. Even the superstars had their cage work that they did every day. And it's just, I tell kids today, I I do the rookie career development program for Major League Baseball. I've been doing it since 2004, where they bring in prospects that been in the big leagues or be in the big leagues, and they have guys mentor them. And I'm one of those guys, the former players that does that. And we talk about, getting a process and having a plan and going out there every day and not disrupting, your process, and don't let the distractions in. And you and I were very good at that. That's what we did really well. And that's why we played for a long time.
More of the Bmore Baseball Podcast coming right up. At Pappas Restaurants, we've been serving up Maryland's best crab cakes for over 5 decades, and now we make it easier than ever to get your favorites. With 4 restaurants and sports bar locations across Harford County, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County, you can stop in for fresh seafood, ice-cold drinks, and wall-to-wall TVs. But if you can't make it in, don't worry. We'll bring Pappas to you. Our new state-of-the-art shipping and commissary location on Bel Air Road in Nottingham means you can pick up fresh-made meals or have our famous crab cakes and seafood shipped anywhere in the country. Dine in, pick up, or ship nationwide. However you Pappas, we've got you covered. Order now at pappascrabcakes.com.
I'm retired now, but I was an Orioles home run. Grand slam, actually. Took a sweet ride right into the flag court, and it was awesome. Could be awesome for you, too, if you play Home Run Riches from the Maryland Lottery. You could win instantly, or be a contestant of the game and win $500 for being selected, $500 for every Orioles home run, and $5,000 for every Grand Slam. Sounds like a ball, if you ask me. Enter all season at mdlottery.com.
The Bmore Baseball Podcast welcomes Relief Shop. Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu, located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop. It's saving season at Lido Pizza. 99-cent refreshing iced teas for spring and summer. Or $6 calzones every Tuesday. There are tons of new deals and rewards for everyone. Exclusively at LidoPizza.com or on the Lido Pizza app. Lido Pizza, a local legend since 1955. Proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time. And now, back to the Bmore Baseball Podcast.
What about the camaraderie you guys had? I mean, it was amazing. I was able to cover both of you guys, especially during 97. And I was remarking to Mike off camera that one of my recollections was Mike would be doing an interview on television and you'd peek up behind him and make some sort of crazy face, or vice versa. Nowadays, if that occurred in the social media age, you go viral.
Yeah, for sure. Bordie and I, we tried to stay off the camera as much as possible. I got a face for radio. We got bad moss. So we try to stay in the background, but Mike was an everyday player, so we always had to give him crap whenever he's on TV. They always go to the same guys, right? The superstar guys, and whenever we got to do something, it was because something big happened. So, and that was usually Bordie. That was Bordie.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I remember something big happening now. Yeah, I loved having a good time, no doubt about it. And we were serious as anybody when it came to getting our work in, but off the field. So that kind of brought us together. But I got to share a quick story because somebody brought this up to me the other day. So Reb, you didn't just play with the Twins and the Orioles. You went on and played with the Dodgers and Kansas City and had other experiences. And I remember one time when you were with the Dodgers, we were playing against each other down in Vero Beach. And this girl came out, and I remember, I don't know if it was my wife or somebody said, "Hey, isn't that your autograph on her chest?" And my autograph was on her left bosom. You know anything about that, Rev?
Don't know anything about that, Bordie. When they stick it in front of you, you're going to sign it. That's all I know. That's all there is to it, Mike. You know better.
Was there a second thought there, Jeff, that maybe I'm invading privacy here? Or?
No, but I think it had Mike Bordick's name on it, because I sure as heck wasn't going to sign it with my name.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, it had Bordie's name.
That's a smart
Mike
move.
Bordick, if you want to call Mike Bordick, he's probably the guy who's writing that. Yeah, no, we had really good time. I didn't know Mike when we got over there. By the time I got to the Orioles, Kirby Puckett said, Reb, he knew everything about the league. He's like, one of your best friends is going to be Mike Bordick. I'm like, okay, whatever, So I go over there, and of course, got to know Bordie. He brought me over. We used to hang out on the plane together. We would, sit next to each other on the plane a lot and what have you. But I can tell a quick story. Bordie, Pat Gillick's in. They just signed Bordie to come in and play short. Cal was moving to third, so that was kind of a big deal. Might have been a big deal. And we show up every morning in spring training in Fort Lauderdale, and I got signed through the assistant GM, Kevin Malone. And so, but Pat Gillick his butt was on the line with Bordie. So every day we'd come in, it would be just me and Bordie in the locker room, and Pat had to walk through to see us. And every day he'd say hi to Mike. Hey, Mike, how's it going? And he wouldn't say a word to me, and I'd be like, Bordie, am I invisible? So just to show how that all goes down. But Bordie and I, we laughed from the day one. He's like, come on over here. My locker wasn't even near his. And we ended up, he's like, come on over here. There's a locker over here. We'll move somebody out of the way. So that's how that worked out. So from day one, we were pretty tight.
Yeah. No, absolutely, Reb. And so Reb, you're a great baseball mind, and I'm hoping, I know you're doing lessons and do some things in baseball still, and you're still involved. And I got a feeling that you're going to be back in the game and maybe managing someday. And I just want to put this out there. If you do, don't shake your head so quick, man. Was that like a no way shake?
No way. Go ahead. But go ahead.
All right. Okay, then forget it.
The analytics.
I know a lot of people, Mike. I'm still connected. I still got peoples.
Okay, yeah. All right, good.
I just got a text. I just got a text 15 minutes ago from Jim Riggleman going, "Hey man, how's it going?" So there's another old guy that's been around a while and learned some stuff. Right. Yeah. There's no way I'm managing. I get my baseball fix coaching kids. We have an organization. My kids run it. I just bought a building now, and we're doing stuff in there, and we're trying to get some fields together and do stuff. But I that's what I do. I've done USA baseball. I coached. I helped with the trials last year, the 18U trials. I've done the rookie program. I've done the combine the last 2 years. So I still kind of dabble around and do my stuff. I do the Hank Aaron Invitational down there in Vero Beach with MLB and the PA. Nice. Have a joint venture for kids. I used to be inner city kids. Now there's some really talented kids down there, and we go down there and coach those kids. So I get my baseball fix. So Bordie, my time is past this game. I'm kind of old school. You
got a lot to give the game, man. I know you give it back. So
you do too, man. We just like to dabble, and throw it in there. I saw you do a deal with Adam Jones. He was in my rookie program back in 2007 when we were having little groups. He was in there. Yeah. And you guys have knowledge of the game, and you have a lot to offer. And I do it. I just do it on a more local level because I don't live in Baltimore. I live here in Dayton, Ohio. So that's where I do most of my work, and they need it here. They need it more than you think. So.
What about the Orioles? Do you have any relationship with the Orioles at all? Do they reach out for alumni events, anything of that nature at all, Jeff?
Yeah, I have. I did the, I used to do some stuff with Cal and those guys back in the day when Bordie was around. We did, the Ripken experience it was like a bunch of guys for fantasy. They were acting like they were minor league guys, and we would manage. We had a good time there. The Orioles, Bill Stetka does a good job with the alumni. So I did that 1 year with fantasy down there, and it was fun, and I enjoyed that. So I do that, but nothing baseball wise. I don't. Like I said, they have a different analytics and everything. Have kind of changed things a little bit. I think if I did anything, it might be with the Reds because they're local here. They have a minor league team here in Dayton. So that would be something local. But I'm not. That's. If they ask, I'd obviously help in any way I can, but that's really not a thing for me. I wasn't that good of a player, Jerry. You know that.
Oh, come on.
I catch it at first base. They want to learn some defense. I think they have a guy who actually caught it a lot more than I did and threw it to first base a little better. So I think Bordie's probably going to, and he's maybe a guy in the Hall of Fame over there. I think Bordie's going to get a call before I do.
Reb, you played every position on the field, didn't you? Did you not? Did you ever play a full year of every position, or you came close?
What do you mean? Like
you played
every position during that season?
Left field, right field.
Oh
center.
yeah. Yeah, probably. If I DH'd in Minnesota, probably because I caught an inning in Minnesota.
Nice.
That didn't go well either.
What about pitching?
Pitching, I pitched in Double-A, and I got a 0 ERA. And Gardenhire was my manager, and I actually got David Howard to ground out back to me. I had a really good changeup, and I realized I was smart enough to know that 86 was not going to be very good. 86 and straight, so I was sinking it at 82.
There you go.
And I was getting him to dribble back to me, and I got a guy named Tommy Dunbar out who played like a long time. He pointed to the Citrus Bowl on me, and I jammed him on a 3-1 heater after a 3-0 changeup. And then I got Jeff Conine out, who was a teammate of ours.
Let's go.
On an ephus pitch. So I went 1, 2, 3, got 2 big leaguers out, and a guy had played in pro ball for like 17 years.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about that. I was pretty good. I should have been.
I think we'll end it on that note. The ephus pitch. I mean, there's nothing better than the ephus.
What else? Jeff Conine. You know what? I mean,
there you go.
Mr. Marlin, Niner. He's out.
Yeah,
so
man.
there you go. So
now
you guys
watch his kid. How about that?
I know his kid can hit, right? He's giving him the Yoda. Not
absolutely
right. Yeah. So we had some good times though. But Jerry, I mean, you saw some of it, but at the end of the day, man, that was the Orioles back then. That was a special time frame, and a lot of really good players that were on that squad. If you look at that, if you go look up 1997 roster, and you look around, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I try to tell the kids today, Jeff. Hey, we're really appreciative of the time, and best of luck to you out there in always neutral Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
And
go O's.
Absolutely.
Go O's. I'm always rooting for
Thanks,
you.
brother. Thank you, man. All right, there he goes, Jeff Reboulet. We move on now, Bordie. Always great to catch up with a former teammate and Reb. Love him, man. Love him. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. For the birds, it's time now for that portion of the podcast sponsored by the Maryland Lottery. Playing the Maryland Lottery responsibly means knowing what's true and what's not about your favorite games. Learn the facts and myths at mdlottery.com. That's mdlottery.com. And please always play responsibly. Mike, O's are one of the youngest teams in Major League Baseball and also one of the oldest. It's kind of a dichotomy because the youth comes from the position players. Yeah. The seniority portion of the team is from the pitching staff. When you combine the two, should it be the opposite? I mean, shouldn't you have the young pitching staff and the older veteran players at the positions, or what do you think?
Yeah, seems that way for sure. And it's kind of a head scratcher because I remember when Billy Beane from Moneyball started all of a sudden getting into analytics. And one of the first things that stood out to me was, when is a player going to be in his prime? And it was like between 26, 27, 28 to like 31 was the peak for all players. So they put everybody in that. But position players actually need a little more seasoning. They need more experience, more ground balls to understand situations. So it might be 26, 27 as a position player, but pitchers need to be younger. They need the fresher, livelier arm to stay healthy. Everything indicates high risk when you get up over 30 years old for a pitcher. Most have already had Tommy John surgery, so you're already at press of the red flag, the panic button. And the Orioles, of course, have the oldest pitcher in that is Charlie Morton, still looking for his first win, and of course some other older pitchers. So it doesn't seem to make sense right now. But I think the Orioles, I hope they still have a pretty good analytic feel and are able to kind of use the ebbs and flows of the season to make adjustments accordingly.
I also wanted to address the fact that they are not aggressive like Brandon Hyde had vowed they would be in terms of bunting and stolen bases. They have not stolen. They haven't even attempted 15 stolen bases at the time we're speaking right now. They don't have a sacrifice to their credit at the time we're speaking right now. And we're, almost 15 games into the season.
Yeah. Well, I think they're doing a lot of searching right now. They don't know who they are offensively just yet. They're kind of hit or miss with every part of their game, to be honest with you. So I think they're still searching for themselves, trying to right the ship, if you will. So there hasn't been many opportunities for situational baseball or even to take a chance to potentially run into an out. I think Brandon Hyde and this offense is just looking for more consistency, and then hopefully that will lead to more situational baseball and a more aggressive brand of baseball, because they're going to need that. This offense is going to be the ticket if they're going to make it to the promised land.
Yeah, they definitely have the caliber of player to lay down a bunt and to steal a base. So it just hasn't been utilized to the extent we thought.
Take a swing at a healthier mouth and a better-looking smile with my dental team at Catonsville Dental Care. Catonsville Dental Care is a winning team of caring dental professionals who treat you like family. You will love their clean, friendly office where your comfort and care are their top priorities. Catonsville Dental Care has more than 2,000 five-star Google reviews and received many awards, such as Top Dentist and Top Workplace. Catonsville Dental Care accepts most insurances and offers convenient hours before or after work, and some Saturdays too. Mention the Jerry Special for your $149 new patient visit, or receive $500 off your Invisalign treatment. So get off the bench. Call Catonsville Dental Care today. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for Bet Parks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. At Heller Coates, we ensure peace of mind. Our mission, to educate, design, and protect, ensuring that you get the right insurance at the right price. Whether it's home and auto, life, disability, long-term care, or employee benefits, our deep understanding of personal and business life cycles allows us to tailor solutions just for you. We specialize in strategic insurance planning for those who value protection. Ready to take the next step? Get in touch for no obligation 360 policy review at insurance@hellercoates.com. They say it all comes back to your roots, right? At Grassroots, high-quality cannabis is in their nature. From soil to soul, their passion for cannabis and community inspires everything they do. Try your favorite strains from their cultivar library of top-shelf flower, pre-rolls, and concentrates. Whether you're cheering from the stands or chanting for the O's at home, their crafted flower helps you curate the perfect game day. Ask for Grassroots Cannabis at your favorite dispensary in Maryland.
All right, it's time to move on, Bordie. Let's travel beyond Baltimore, sorta. Brought to you by Relief Shop, Baltimore's best adult use and medical cannabis dispensary, with 700 plus unique menu items and home delivery available always for medical patients, only at Relief Shop. We bring in Brian Kowitz, who is a former major leaguer turned local businessman. He and Steve Heller run Kowitz and Heller Insurance, fine sponsor of this podcast. And Brian, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
We know you played college ball at Clemson and you went on to play in the major leagues with the Atlanta Braves. I want to know when the moment was when a light went off in your head and maybe you had a conversation with a family member that, you know, I have the talent to play at the major league level. Something maybe you didn't think when you were playing in Wellwood Little League.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever thought I could play in the major leagues. It just kind of happens, you know. You don't ever. You just try to just do well where you are, and I never really looked beyond where I was. And I think that was one of the, things that helped me the most was trying to just, kind of be as great as I could be where I was, and just from there, making decisions easy for those people that were making the decisions about your life, because you have no say in it. Like, you can say whatever you want to say, but you just have to continue to work as hard as you can and just produce. And if you produce enough, maybe you'll get lucky enough to get a shot, but there are definitely no guarantees, right, Bordie?
No, you got that right. I will say this. A lot of times I think what helps is if you have a really good foundation in sports, and you were a tremendous athlete here locally. You went to Boys Latin and you played all the sports, and you probably could have gone on and played all sports in college. You ended up getting that opportunity in Clemson to play baseball. So how important was it to you, do you think, to play other sports?
That's a great comment. One of the best things I ever did was, I played soccer my whole life, all the way through 9th grade. And then my dad said, the football coach at Boys Latin really thinks you could do well with them there. And, how'd you like to play football? And so I really, I've never played football in my life except for pick up football in the backyard, in my, Randallstown neighborhood, and really what happened. I just said, okay, I'll go out there, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just, hey, if the ball gets thrown to you, catch it, and if somebody comes at you, tackle them, and if the ball's up in the air and you're playing defense, go get the ball, and that's just what I did. I was a receiver and a defensive back my sophomore year, and I was the backup quarterback, which was scary because I had no idea what I was doing as a quarterback. And then my junior year, they threw me right in to play quarterback. Wow. And play defensive back and return punts and return kickoffs. Nice. And I was thinking, oh my God, are you kidding me? So, but I loved being out there. I loved playing. It was just like I was out in the backyard playing. I had no idea what I was doing as a quarterback. None. Couldn't read a defense. Had no idea my line was average. So, I was rolling out a lot, scrambling a lot, just kind of being athletic. And I had some success in that, and it was fun. But what it did is it really toughened me up. I mean, it really, really, had me doing things I didn't expect to be doing physically, the exertion, the two-a-days in the summer. And it toughened me up and made me just a tougher athlete and competitor. So, yeah, you're right about that.
Nice. Yeah,
go ahead, Bordie.
Did you think, because I know I liked playing other sports too, and it just so happened that I was able to play baseball, and I found that I love baseball, but I ended up treating my career more as like, how am I going to make myself the best athlete playing baseball I can, and trying to find ways to make myself faster, quicker bat speed, stronger throwing arm, just, everything that comes into being the best athlete you possibly could be. Is that how you saw it too when you picked baseball, or it picked you?
Yeah. I was always working on all of the skills that would, transfer into success. So, running, like I constantly worked on my speed, my agility, my strength. I was very big on strength, and my eyesight. I very early on, I worked with somebody that helped me with, my vision and, hitting different color balls, hitting. I'd have these balls being shot at me at different colors and trying to recognize what colors were what, to either if I was going to hit it or take it based on the color it was. And that kind of really helped with my, like you said, a faster, more, a quicker swing, better recognition. But my favorite sport, there's nothing better than Friday night hoops in high school. I mean, come on. You called it for years. You called it for years at Pikesville Senior High with Kasoff and Gottlieb, man. I mean, come on. Nothing better, right?
That was awesome. It was awesome. But you know what else is awesome? I mean, you played with the Braves, dude. You have so many stories. I mean, you were there during their vintage time in the early 90s. What's one story maybe that sticks out? I know you like to tell the one that you really are a proponent for their run of divisional and that world championship.
Well, I'll tell you the story. I mean, I'm responsible. Yeah. I'm responsible for the Braves in 1995 winning the World Series. It was because of me that we won the World Series, and it was amazing. It was my first major league flight, and I'm feeling really good. It's June 12th. June 12th. I'm meeting the team at the locker room. I got my suit on. I'm in the locker room with the 25 unbelievable players, Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and Chipper Jones and Fred McGriff and Javi Lopez, Ryan Klesko, Marquise Grissom, Dave Justice, Eddie Perez, Alejandro Pena, Mark Wohlers. Are you kidding me? It's like traveling with the Beatles. I mean, it was crazy. And then me. Like, come on, So, somebody's got to lead the services. So I guess, it was they picked me to do that. But I'm so excited. We're going to Montreal. It's our first flight, and we take the bus to the as you know, Mike. You take the bus right to the plane. You get off the bus and you walk up the steps. And I walk up the steps and I'm being offered shrimp cocktail, filet mignon, strawberry shortcake, popsicles, and ice cream and drinks and stuff. I felt like I was walking into a bar mitzvah or a wedding or something. It was unbelievable. So I get there, I'm in my suit, and I go sit in the middle of the plane. I don't want to sit too far in front. I don't want to sit too far in the back. Just in the middle somewhere where nobody will want to bother anybody. So, I came up with Mike Mordecai. He was on that team. So I think I sat next to him. And, we're getting ready to take off. We're taxiing. The plane is starting to go faster and faster and faster down the runway. And I smell a funny smell. And, I started looking around and I start seeing a little bit of smoke. And I'm getting a little concerned, and we're going faster and faster. Finally, I'm looking around and nobody's saying anything. I think people, we're invincible. We're big leaguers. Nothing's going to happen to us, right? Well, I'm like, no. This is not right. I see smoke coming in, so I stand up and scream, "Stop the plane! Stop the plane!" And the plane, it was me. I'm like, and as a rookie, you're supposed to be seen, not heard, but. Yeah. I threw that out the window. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going down. So I stand up and I scream, "Stop the plane, stop the plane." And I see the flight. I say, there's smoke. The flight attendant then runs to the cockpit, goes to the pilot. Pilot slams the brakes on before we get it airborne, slams the brakes on. And then the pilot immediately gets on and says, "Everybody on the floor, get down on the ground, down on the ground." So we're all on the ground now, crawling on the ground so we don't, get smoke inhalation. And a couple minutes later, they open the door, deploy the slide. Everybody's able to, get out safely. Of course, Klesko crawls over everybody because he's the most, he's like, so scared, and like, he thinks his chest is full of smoke and he's going to be, not going to be able to play. So he's crawling across everybody. And he gets out first, and he runs into the ambulance to make sure he's okay. Everybody else is fine. But we get down there, and I asked the pilot who was down there, I said, "What would have happened if we'd taken off?" And he said, "It would not have been good, guys. It could have been a disaster, because we could have died of smoke inhalation, or we, could have caught fire, and, who knows." But so, and there was 7 Hall of Famers on that flight.
Incredible.
5 players: McGriff, Chipper, and Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, and then Bobby Cox and John Sherholtz. So
has Netflix gotten a hold of this story?
Yeah, I mean, remarkable.
No, and I'm starting to tell. I've never even talked about it. I don't know why, but I've never talked about it. And then I
don't tell anyone else now.
It's out. It's out. The whole world knows.
The exclusive now. You got the exclusive. So. Yeah. But I'm really, I never talked about it, but I am the reason why we won the World Series, because if that plane takes off, there's no Braves anymore. Right. I don't think the AAA team would have won the World Series that year.
No, so that story, before we let you go, that story never made the local paper. Wasn't in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Nothing like that.
It was.
Oh, it was. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was. It was very brief, and there wasn't much made of it, because I just don't think it was. There was no social media or anything. It was just kind of, here's what happened. And then, then we waited, a couple more hours and then went to Montreal. I think, the plane was even scared to face Pedro Martinez, I think. Yeah.
Hey, we got to run, but where can folks reach you and Rich?
Oh, me and Rich, or me and Steve?
No, I'm sorry. You and
Steve. Yeah, Steve, you mean Steve. Yeah, just, www.hellercoats.com. You can call our line, you can email us. You can, we're all over social media. So there's no, easy to find us, hellercoats.com, all over the place.
Nice.
Really appreciate it, Brian.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, you got it, guys. Good to see you.
You too.
All right, we move on. That was quite the story. Time for What's Up, Doc. What's Up, Doc is sponsored by the Baltimore Chamber Orchestra. Hear Baltimore's second orchestra perform at 3 p.m. coming up May the 11th at Goucher College. Visit the bco.org to buy tickets and learn more. Again, bco.org. Doc, welcome back. You're down in Sarasota enjoying the nice temperatures. The Orioles have left, but you went back down just to check things out. And I wanted to ask you first about the clubhouse spread. I've seen a lot turned over back in the day after a loss where an angry manager or player came through and said, "We're not having dinner here tonight." But it has changed. The nutritional value of the clubhouse spread over the years has evolved. What have you noticed since when you first got involved with baseball over 30 years ago?
Well, it has changed a lot, certainly in most clubs. In our Oriole clubhouse, the Tylers, Freddie Tyler, Jimmy Tyler, always provided good meals for the players. However, since I came in '93 till about 4 or 5 years ago, Jimmy and Freddie would tend to speak to the visiting team people and ask them what their players like to eat, and they would frequently order in from different locations for that. More recently, most of the clubs now have nutritional chefs, nutritional consults, and the food now is prepared certainly for our players and for the visiting players by a nutritionist, and it has a lot more focused on being good, tasty, but at the same time being much healthier on a general basis, and I think that's good for everybody. The Oriole food has always been excellent in our clubhouse, and I always visited Freddie at the visiting clubhouse, and his food was also excellent too. But like I said, it was more if they liked a certain kind of takeout, they would have it. But now the food is very nutritious, and Mike knows this very well. Not every club's like that. I still remember in 14 we went up to Toronto, and it was a George Foreman grill and peanut butter and jelly on our side. And I don't know what it was like when you were there, Mike, but it was stunningly not good.
Yeah.
And similarly, when we would go to Yankee Stadium for playoff games and visiting games, it was like a 5-star restaurant. I mean, we had steak and lobster, and the clubby there has a full liquor closet in the back for anybody who wants boutique beers. I mean, I had to tip the guy $100 because it was so spectacular. So it does vary, but you could comment, Mike. I suspect Oakland doesn't do a great job with their visiting clubhouse, but is Toronto the worst? Because I can't imagine anything worse than that Toronto spread, Mike.
Yeah, I think they're all doing a little bit better nowadays. I know back in the day, they did not care about a player's health. That's for sure. I think most of us survived on Bud Light and chewing tobacco. And then I think things started changing over. Thank goodness they're taking care of players because it's such a tough lifestyle. And honestly, back when I came up, they didn't give us any food. As a matter of fact, in spring training, I just remember like chicken noodle soup. You were lucky if you got any of that, maybe a piece of salami on white bread. And that was about it. They just never paid any attention to that or didn't care about players' nutrition. So I'm happy. And I think that's why you're seeing so many just incredible athletes, just big, strong guys, because they eat so well and they truly care about their nutrition. I'm going to jump ship a little bit here, though, Doc, and head to some of the recent injuries with the Orioles. Now, our boy Suarez, who had some shoulder discomfort, was just put on the 60-day IL. Now, another one of our great pitchers, Eflin, came off, and they got him on like the 14-day IL. Are we to think that he might end up going on the 60-day? I know we don't know much about it, but these shoulder things are pretty concerning.
Well, as I said before, the Orioles are fairly transparent, and they did mention that Suarez had a subscapular muscle strain. And in today's world, the MRIs are pretty sensitive, and they didn't say how bad it was, but your subscapularis muscle is part of your rotator cuff, and that's obviously a bad word to injure. So I am assuming that there was a fair amount of inflammation and a significant part of that muscle was disabled or injured. And so I'm guessing that based on that, they figured he would need extensive time off. And then, of course, you start a complete restart, a spring training restart. That's going to take 2-3 weeks. So I suspect they're hopeful he'll be back in a little less than that. But given the status of their pitching staff, they probably figured they needed that roster spot because when you're on the 60, you obviously can add a player on your roster. So I suspect and hope that Suarez isn't as bad as that sounds, but they needed the slot. But rotator cuff inflammation is a big deal. I suspect Eflin's headed there too, in that suddenly lat strains have become a kind of a popular injury. And again, it's a injury where the MRI can give you a higher degree of feel for how bad it is. Since they started him on the 14, they're probably lighting a few candles, as Dan Duquette used to say, and hoping it's not too big. But usually that's going to be at least 4 weeks, I would think, and probably closer to 6. So it really depends, I think, on what's in the trade market and what they think they have on the farm as to whether or not they need that slot. But lat injury, latissimus is your latissimus dorsi. Latissimus means big, dorsi means back. It's the big, huge muscle in your back, that big hunks like Bordick have, when he walks around naked. You can see him bulging there.
That's a visual we don't need.
Why you got to bring me up naked, Doc? Come on.
Kind of
family program, Doc. I mean, it sounds like the Orioles pitching staff is keeping you in business with all these injuries. Jeez.
They happen. And again, as Mike said, it's always fascinated me. And I think what you see is the difference between big market teams and small market teams. Pitchers clearly peak and are healthier when they're in their 20s. I remember Dan wanted to sign a player who'd had 1,000 innings and not been on the DL yet. I said, Dan, we want to get them before they've had 1,000 innings, not after. And but the big market teams can take a flyer on somebody like that, and as I like to say, pay them for 4 years and hope they get 2. The flip side of that is the smaller market teams have a lot more trouble overpaying like that. And again, as we've said many times, the front office guys, they have a short life expectancy. So if they think they can get 2 years out of them and they think they're on the ropes, they'll take the 2 years, figuring if it doesn't work out, they're gone anyway. So a lot of factors go into these contract negotiations.
Dr. Michael Jacobs, former Orioles team doc, always appreciate you. Brought to you by the BCO.org. And thanks to all our sponsors, including, yes, Steve Heller and Brian Kowitz.
At Heller Kowitz, we ensure peace of mind. Our mission, to educate, design, and protect, ensuring that you get the right insurance at the right price. Whether it's home and auto, life, disability, long-term care, or employee benefits, our deep understanding of personal and business life cycles allows us to tailor solutions just for you. We specialize in strategic insurance planning for those who value protection. Ready to take the next step? Get in touch for no-obligation 360 policy review at insurance@hellerkowitz.com. They say it all comes back to your roots, right? At Grassroots, high-quality cannabis is in their nature. From soil to soul, their passion for cannabis and community inspires everything they do. Try your favorite strains from their cultivar library of top-shelf flower, pre-rolls, and concentrates. Whether you're cheering from the stands or chanting for the O's at home, their crafted flower helps you curate the perfect game day. Ask for Grassroots Cannabis at your favorite dispensary in Maryland. Take a swing at a healthier mouth and a better-looking smile with my dental team at Catonsville Dental Care. Catonsville Dental Care is a winning team of caring dental professionals who treat you like family. You will love their clean, friendly office, where your comfort and care are their top priorities. Catonsville Dental Care has more than 2,000 five-star Google reviews and received many awards, such as Top Dentist and Top Workplace. Catonsville Dental Care accepts most insurances and offers convenient hours, before or after work, and some Saturdays too. Mention the Jerry Special for your $149 new patient visit, or receive $500 off your Invisalign treatment. So get off the bench. Call Catonsville Dental Care today.
I'm retired now, but I was an Orioles home run. Grand slam, actually. Took a sweet ride right into the flag court, and it was awesome. Could be awesome for you too if you play Home Run Riches from the Maryland Lottery. You could win instantly, or be a contestant of the game and win $500 for being selected, $500 for every Orioles home run, and $5,000 for every grand slam. Sounds like a ball if you ask me. Enter all season at mdlottery.com.
At Pappas Restaurants, we've been serving up Maryland's best crab cakes for over 5 decades, and now we make it easier than ever to get your favorites. With 4 restaurants and sports bar locations across Harford County, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County, you can stop in for fresh seafood, ice-cold drinks, and wall-to-wall TVs. But if you can't make it in, don't worry. We'll bring Pappas to you. Our new state-of-the-art shipping and commissary location on Bel Air Road in Nottingham means you can pick up fresh-made meals or have our famous crab cakes and seafood shipped anywhere in the country. Dine in, pick up, or ship nationwide. However you Pappas, we've got you covered. Order now at pappascrabcakes.com. It's saving season at Lido Pizza. 99-cent refreshing iced teas for spring and summer, or $6 calzones every Tuesday. There are tons of new deals and rewards for everyone, exclusively at LidoPizza.com or on the Lido Pizza app. Lido Pizza, a local legend since 1955, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for Bet Parks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
Also, thanks to Senior Executive Producer Chip Franklin for putting this latest episode together. Chip enjoys the longer days now that we've gotten into springtime. He's just still learning how to adjust his clock, though. Even his Apple Watch isn't working the right way. Go figure. Until next time, be kind, be real, and make sure to be back next week. It's another edition of the Bmore Baseball Podcast.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.